Onto this story now. The Basic Education Department will be deciding the plight of pupils who missed matric exams. The department says it's concerned with the continued community protests that are causing disruptions to exams. Mpumalanga and the Northwest have been affected by these community protests, which resulted in pupils missing their exams. And Gauteng in particular, a principal is facing a disciplinary hearing for telling pupils not to report for their first paper and misdirecting the department by claiming there was a protest action in the area. For more on this, I'm joined by Gauteng Education Department spokesperson Steve Mabona, who's in studio with us. Mr. Mabona, thank you very much for your time. I wonder if you can actually even divulge anything more with this particular case. It's quite bizarre. I wonder why the principal would have actually misdirected or omitted. Maybe he omitted some information in terms of his lies. But just tell me more about the investigations, what you'll be looking at exactly.
Thank you very much, Masiko. Look, TBE is managing this process. As you know, that they are the custodian of these examinations. We are implementers in the provinces. So depending on the scale of an incident or irregularity, we'll then escalate it to them so that they manage it. So this one was immediately escalated to them. Okay. They will be continuing with their investigations, but from the provincial perspective will also be required to also do what is expected out of us, and they should be in a position to talk more about it.
Are you able to tell us at all how many pupils, 65 or so, who missed the exam? I think it was an economics paper here in Gauteng at that particular school. Are you able to tell us if you are probably trying to assist them to be allowed to sit for that exam?
Well, like as we've indicated, that process, as a irregularity has been reported, and the learners will be assisted on when they will be writing and how they will be doing that, because they will then continue with the other papers.
The parents, have they tried to protest against the school or the district for the fact that their children missed the exam? I know that as a parent you also have a responsibility, but if you get a message from a school saying there'll be a violent protest, the kids shouldn't come, then you probably will decide to keep your child at school. Have they said anything to the department or the district?
No, an investigation will also include parents. They will then have to interact with them and get evidence, because a matter like this must be thoroughly investigated, because surely there must be consequences, consequence management. Those that are implicated must then face the music.
Another thing that is being investigated by the DBE, and as you said, you are the administrators of their custodianship, right? Is this complaint that there was a particular question in Maths Paper 1 that was too difficult, and it was something that was flagged by all provinces? Is Gauteng one of the provinces that received a flag about this particular question on Maths Paper 1 that was apparently too impossible to answer?
Yeah, like as we have indicated, matters like this, because we are the implementers, we will raise our concerns through necessary protocols, and then TB will be in a position to pronounce. I'm informed that the minister might brief tomorrow on the latest developments, be it all issues that might have been raised, including our matter, the one that we just spoke about, and anything that might have been a challenge for examination. But from us looking at the examination, like for instance for today, things went very well. That there's a strike that is going on. It had no material significance to us as the department, throughout Gauteng. The only thing that we had this morning was a learner that got sick in Eureka, was taken to a medical facility, could not finish writing. And there's a learner that gave birth at the clinic after complicating in an exam room in Diepsloot. She couldn't finish writing. She gave birth to a baby boy. She is safe, we are informed. So those are incidents that we could report for today. But over and above that, we've been doing very well, throughout this examination.
All right, so that's what I was going to ask you, in fact, about the public servant strike and if you're being affected at all. Lastly, Mr. Mabona, in terms of the placement of pupils, grade 8 and 1, how's that going?
quite a challenging one, as you will know that this is a moment where parents are, anxious. Those that would have not been placed. But we've been saying the numbers are increasing of those that we are placing. We just call, upon parents to be patient a bit. We understand that those that probably their friends, will be saying, my child has been placed, and we are still waiting, but probably we might not be far adrift in terms of, our residential areas. We are finalizing the process. We'll be ending on the 30th of November.
Okay.
So we still have just about 20 days to go. So the assurance is that we'll be placing everyone. The challenge might be that we might not place you at a school that you want because of areas that we know that we are highly pressured. We need to make sure that we have enough space, and we will not be in a position to place everyone in all those schools. But we have identified our high pressures. We should be in a position by next week to update on how far are we in terms of those that would have been placed. But by next week, we should have been placed a lot because we are starting with the process of transfer. By that, I mean all those that would have not received a space, but they're in our system, will then be transferring those applications to where there is space. So meaning that you might get a space that, or a school that you didn't apply, but then there's an objection and an appeal process that you can still go for if you are not interested in that space. But we're going to be placing everyone that is applied.
Do you know the statistics at the moment, where you stand in terms of the numbers? How many still need to be placed?
Well, by yesterday, we were standing at just over 67%. When you look at the overall figure of those that would have applied. So
these are parents who, 67% are parents who accepted where they were placed?
Yes.
Okay.
Those that have received offers, it's over 67%. Remember, the previous week, we were standing at about less than 50 because we had parents that we have, offered them, but they did not accept. They were waiting for probably, other spaces. One will say, no, this is not my first priority. I'm waiting for the priority that I want.
But I prefer.
And what we did, we auto-placed them. We gave them the space, over 70,000 of those, gave them the space, and they cannot appeal because you can't appeal for something that you have applied for. If we gave you an option to say apply to 3 schools, you will then probably apply to 3. One of them, if give you space, then you can't say, no, this is the school that I don't want. I want my preference, because we don't know your preference.